Francesca. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have an exciting recipe. I'm always so excited about my recipes. This one I'm really excited about for vegan chicken nuggets. These were inspired by the Wendy's spicy chicken nuggets, so there is a little bit of a kick in there. If you don't like spicy, you can just leave that out. These are so awesome. They're relatively easy to make, a little bit time consuming just because you do have to individually bread all of the little nugget pieces, but other than that, it's actually easy to make, pretty accessible ingredients, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. This is not a gluten-free recipe. The main ingredient in these nuggets is Vital Wheat gluten. I do have a tofu nugget recipe on my blog, so if that is something you're interested in, I will leave it down below. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. I think it is great for back to school time. Unfortunately, summer's over. Great for kids, make a bunch of them, freeze them, great for families. I just think you guys are really going to enjoy them. So let's hop into the recipe. We're gonna start this off by adding some mashed up cannellini beans into a bowl. You can use cannellini beans or chickpeas, doesn't really matter, and just make sure they're really nice and smooth and broken down. If they're not mashing up easily with the back of a fork, use a food processor. Then we're adding in the star of the show, our Vital Wheat gluten, the thing that makes all this happen. And just mix it up. I know it seems silly, like it's not gonna come together, but just start mixing it until we form little clumps. Then we're adding in a bunch of seasonings, nutritional yeast, black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, poultry seasoning. It's all listed down below, and just keep mixing that up. I'm not going to add in any salt because I'm using vegetable broth and the beans, and they have enough salt. If you're using low sodium veggie broth and low sodium beans, you might want to add some salt in. Then we're going to slowly start to add in our veggie broth. I only added in half a cup, and you want to do this slowly because you do not want the seitan to be too wet. So definitely do this slowly. It's better to do it slow because once it's too wet, you're kind of like screwed. You're gonna have to add in more Vital Wheat gluten. So do it slow. And then we can just start kneading with our hands. And you can see here it's still a little dry. Some of the pieces weren't being picked up, so I added a little more in, and that was enough. But seriously, I think it's better to just add it in slower if you're not sure. Don't just like dump the whole half cup in there. Do it in stages. So now you're gonna knead the dough for a few minutes, and you'll see it starts to turn really spongy. Some of the little pieces of the beans fall out. Don't worry about that, who cares? See how spongy it is? Like it bounces back so much. That's what you want. You don't want it to be too wet, and you want it to look like this. So now I'm gonna cut it into 4 pieces. And if you want to, you can freeze the seitan at this point, but we're gonna obviously keep going with the recipe. And we're just going to roll it out. So I rolled it out, and I'm gonna cut it into strips, and then I'm gonna cut those strips in half, so I get about 8 pieces from each ball. And we're just gonna form it into little nuggety shapes, you know, no really right or wrong way because it's a nugget, and it's something like this. So yeah, just cut it up, make little nugget shapes. And you want this to be thin because we're gonna boil these and they're gonna plump up. So don't worry, like the thinner is better. And they should look something like this when they're all done. Here are your little nuggets, your seitan nuggets. So let's bring this over to the stove where I have some vegetable broth and water boiling. This was 2 cups of veggie broth to 4 cups of water. And I'm just gonna use a slotted spoon to throw the seitan pieces in there. Boiling the seitan helps make it really soft, really good, gives extra flavor. And that's why I said I didn't want to add an extra salt because we're literally boiling it in the veggie broth. So this is it only after a few minutes, but you're gonna let it go for about 20 to 30 minutes, and it's gonna look like this when it's all done. And you could see how much they plumped up and how much of that veggie broth they absorbed. The texture is completely different. So now I'm just gonna strain them out and put them on a plate lined with paper towel. Please be careful, these are gonna be really hot, don't burn your hands. The extra broth you could just dump, it's kind of gross. There's like bits of the seitan in there and stuff, and it's really not that much to do anything with. This is what it looks like when it is all done. Like I said, they're nice and plump and chubby. So now let's talk about breading. I have flour here that I mixed with some black pepper and chili powder. This is just regular all-purpose flour. We have some non-dairy milk, and then finally our breadcrumbs that have been seasoned with a bunch of things that I can't remember right now that are listed in the description box and the blog post. So we're gonna take our little seitan piece, dredge it in the flour, and I suggest having a wet hand and a dry hand to do this. Then we're gonna add it into the non-dairy milk, and then we're gonna go right into the breadcrumbs. And if you noticed, I switched hands. Well, now I'm using both hands. I don't know what I was doing, but I find that having a wet hand and a dry hand is better, and I like to make my dry hand my dominant hand. And then we're just gonna place them onto a dish while we prepare them all. So they look something like this when they are done. Now, we are going to add half a tablespoon of olive oil into a nice big pan, and we are gonna pan fry these actually for like 2 to 3 minutes per side, and then we're gonna bake them. Doing this is gonna help to give that fried texture without actually deep frying them. You don't have to do this, you can skip it if you like, but it does add a little something, and it's, you know, it's 1 tablespoon of olive oil. It's not that much for all these nuggets. So they should look nice and golden and crispy, and then give them a flip and just crisp up the other side. Now you're gonna place them onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and don't they look so good already? I just added a little extra olive oil anywhere where I felt like maybe they didn't get enough olive oil in the pan. Like I said though, you can just go straight to baking these if you want. We're gonna pop them in the oven, 425 for about 20 minutes until they are nice and golden and brown and crispy, and they look so good. And now we are ready to eat them. Serve them with any of your favorite dipping sauces, ketchup, barbecue sauce, spicy mayo, whatever you like. They're a crowd pleaser. Alright guys, and that was our video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, the link to the full recipe on my blog, it's the first link in the description box down below. Sorry, I got distracted by them fighting. If you want to get the full written out recipe, PDF printable recipe, all that stuff, that's on the blog. If you just want to see the list of ingredients, that will be in the description box down below. If you try this, please let me know how it goes, good or bad. I just love to hear back how everything goes. Leave a comment, send me an Instagram message, put up an Instagram post, I'll share it on my stories. Whatever, however you like. I just love to get you guys' feedback. If you like my videos, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I know you already know what to do. It helps the channel out and helps us to grow and spread more delicious vegan recipes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on Thursday with another video. Bye!